watching Juson TV on the program Morning Dew. My name is Comrade Macaulay Reginald, and today we have a very handsome gentleman with us, the MBA chairman of Uyo branch. Please, sir, you're welcome to the program Morning Dew.
Thank you very
Juson
much,
TV.
Macaulay. Thank
Thank
you
you so much, sir.
Thank you for this wonderful privilege.
Wow.
And I must say, you look very good.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir, let's go into the business of the day. Please, can you briefly introduce yourself and also your role as the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association? Uyo?
Thank you very much, Macaulay. Good morning once again, listening viewers. My name is Augustine Anyanya Enefiokudo. I'm the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Uyo branch of Iowa State. In extension, the coordinating chairman of branches of the state.
Okay.
My role as the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association is as provided for by the Constitution and Uniform Bylaw for branches. It is primarily to promote the rule of law, ensure justice to all citizenry, ensure that the welfare of the members are taken care of, ensure that the legal profession is run in a professional manner in line with our extant laws, the laws governing the profession, ensure that all lawyers are ethical and full of integrity in the course of the promotion or because of doing their jobs, and ensure that the relationships between the bar, the bench, and the judiciary at all times remain professional, remain successful, and also to grow the interest of both the bar and the judiciary together.
Wow.
Since we are stakeholders in the industry.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
That's nice. That's nice. I really love that. And we don't intend to keep you long in the program. What is the general view on the role and importance of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSON, in the judicial system?
Thank you very much. JUSON, as we have come to know it today, is one of the anchor bodies that strengthens the judiciary. They are the pillars. That is what we basically know them as. That is what they are.
And it's actually a beautiful experience, because I'm seeing this for the first time, the NBA and JUSON trying to.
Absolutely. Do you know what? The Nigerian Bar Association and JUSON are key stakeholders in the judiciary sector. As a matter of fact, our collective responsibility is to seek for that one important objective, which I'm sure my Lord the Chief Judge is very sensitive about. And that is the independence of the judiciary. Our core collaboration is to make sure that we work in tandem to promote the institutional framework and ensure that our government recognizes the importance of the judiciary and makes sure that the judiciary stands strong as an arm of government. And how can the judiciary stand strong if the institution is not respected by the government? Respecting it means ensuring that its independence is at all times provided for. The independence of the judiciary is our objective as partners. Our duty is to promote the rule of law, encourage the rights of citizens to be addressed. The JUSO staffs provide the administrative framework, the administrative arm to strengthen that institution that gives us an opportunity to succeed. Let me use a very short illustration. Without the judge sitting, there will be no way for us to go to get our justice. Without the courts in existence, justice cannot be delivered. Have you seen the synergy? And then the lawyer is here seeking for justice, and there are no courts. But with a strong judicial arm, with a strong judicial body, we can both collaborate and ensure that government listens carefully to the fact that the judiciary needs independence, financial strength, respect for its capital projects, for instance, and ensures that everything that is needed is provided for. We cannot be working in synergy, okay, and then the government is not listening. There must be something wrong. That is why I'm saying we are important stakeholders in the industry. Let us assist the Chief Judge for once, because she is a woman that has high level understanding of the system. She's experienced. We that have come to work under her, come to work with her collaborator, we can see the direction she's going. We can see that she has uppermost in her mind the beauty, the success, the growth of the judiciary. And whatever challenge he faces, it is our duty to make sure we speak out and support those challenges and enable those challenges to come to bear. Our judiciary should have enough funds to turn around our institutional structures. We shouldn't be having courts that are not in proper condition. Judicial staff cannot also work under such poor conditions. Judicial staff cannot also be poorly underpaid without the salaries and emoluments and things improved upon. And Lord the Chief Judge is very conscious of these things. She is very conscious of the fact that even her judicial officers, from the judges, the magistrates, the district court chairmen, should be provided with enough tools, vehicles, and even judicial staffs too should have vehicles to be able to do the work. And that is why we are partnering.
You're still watching Juson TV and you're listening to the chairman of MBA branch U. So, how would you describe the current chairman and exco of Juson Akwa Ibom State in a very brief statement?
Um, Engineer Katilaja, I want to recommend and commend his performance above 95%. I was privileged to be at the elections. I
Wow.
was an observer on the elections that brought Engineer Katilaja and his team. I listened to his acceptance speeches, I listened to his drive and policy thrust. And I must tell you that it is the best I've seen in years. Particularly now that I've become the chairman, I have come to work in close tandem with him. And I can tell you that he has done very well. I understand that certain packages have been improved upon from years ago. And that is the mark of progress. And you cannot do that without having a pragmatic leader who takes the interest of the people at heart and who moves with the force of the day. He is not being, let's not get it wrong, he's not actually being, how do you call it again, autocratic or forceful or fightish. He has the grace of diplomacy in him. He knows how to manage relationships and affairs with leadership because I have not heard any fracas between Juson and the leadership of the judiciary, which is the chief judge. And that shows you that he has a good manner of approach. When leadership brings dialogue to bear and presents the issues very objectively, it helps the management to also appreciate and understand that these are the concerns that should be considered. I have not heard that Katilaja and his team have gone to a warlike situation, locking up the courts, locking up the judiciary, and insisting that the chief judge is not doing it. No, rather, I'm seeing the reverse. Recently, I participated with Juson on the Workers' Day celebration.
We saw you.
And I was over the moon when I saw that my Lord the Chief Judge was given an award. How else would you appreciate such a relationship? It just shows you that to a large extent the leadership of Katilaja and his team, which I must really commend, and he is one man I respect so much. So I give him all the kudos. And I wish him well in the remainder of his tenure. And no greater things are coming for Jason and Jason staffs.
Have there been any recent issue or action by Juson in the state that you think is significant?
Thank you very much. I am aware very recently that arising from a series of dissatisfying returns from the government of the day, JUSAN, as a body that is concerned with its institutional protection and independence, had for once had to take up the bold step of seeking peacefully through a demonstration to address certain issues concerning the judiciary. The judiciary has been able to show that we can't sit and be tortured within without speaking.
Yeah.
It is like getting hungry and you cannot voice out that you need food. Just for one spoke. I'm talking about the significance of that event
Definitely.
because I am aware that there was a turnaround of response. The government for once recognized, oh, perhaps we needed to have listened to Jusan. We needed to have had their listening ear. We needed to have listened to their concerns and taken cognizance of those importance. Because I read those things and discovered that there were personal issues affecting Jusan over the years which government did not pay attention to. How can government not pay attention to the salary, improvement in allowances,
Sure.
and the proper maintenance of Jusan personnel? How can they not be brought into the dock of increase if for any reason the government had considered increase in minimum wage and salaries? Are Jusan staff not members of government? They are. They're under the Judicial Act. Is the judiciary not part of government?
Yeah.
It is. It was absolutely necessary, it was absolutely important, and they did it so well. For the NBA, our concern was we would have loved to have partnered under bigger concerns for the structuring of the independence of the judiciary. I actually did not even see, if I'm criticizing, I would say I didn't see where the judicial staff actually said that even our work conditions, our workplaces are dilapidating. You see, it worries us too. Okay, it worries us too. We cannot be sitting in the same court and they are leaking. And then the judge will sit down and administer justice. No. But you see, that is partnership for you. We bring professional content, what beautifies the judicial as an institution, and you bring the work concerns. Because I can tell you that when we speak and work under the same umbrella of understanding, and what is the understanding? That we need a stronger, viable, more independent judiciary for tomorrow. So we can all smile and say, yes, my Lord, the Chief Judge is doing so well. You see? So I recognize and I applaud that stride that Jason did. It shows that the government should try again. This time around, Jason will not spare them. So I thank you for that wonderful exercise.
Wow.
Even though before I could ventilate myself to be part of the exercise, I understood that the exercise had already come to an end. I did meet the members of my bar before we contemplated moving, although my colleagues simply said that certain elements of Jason's concern should have been brought to the NBA's attention for the NBA's full participation. You see what I mean? What I mean is that as partners, we must get our buy-ins for a robust engagement. And going forward, let us strike more for collaboration, mediation, and dialogue. It could help, or it would actually help. But I commend Joseph so much in this role. And I commend my Lord the Chief Judge because I was privileged to that information and we made sure that we tried our best to keep it. So thank you so much.
We are really happy having you on our TV this morning. Lastly, that takes us to the next question. How would you describe the relationship between MBA and Juson in Akwa Ibom? I know you have already said more on that, but just touch it a little bit again.
I would speak to that relationship as a good one, but one that needs to be more enhanced.
Okay.
A good relationship between the MBA and Juson can start by identifying our barriers of professional concern,
Okay.
our barriers of mutual respect and understanding, our barriers of how we can appreciate the objective. The objective is that we are working together to make sure that the judiciary stands as a tall and strong and firm institution. Now, the relationship needs an environment of mutual collaboration where we can sit together periodically and assess ourselves and our role play. As the NBA playing his role well, the Jason playing his role well. Jason shouldn't act like lawyers. Lawyers should not act like Jason staffs. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That way, the relationship can grow itself. We can collaborate and do periodic assessments of how we have performed towards the goal of strengthening the judiciary. We shouldn't be seen complaining that some Jason staffs are crisscrossing into the works of lawyers. We should not, the Jason shouldn't be seeing the NBA staff as being uncooperative. Okay? Sometimes we have challenges, but those challenges, if we identify them on a table of understanding, we can build towards it. Sometimes we can go and we can discover that some Jason staffs are not available to assist us, or because there's poor staffing, there may be no cleaners and all that. But I'm saying that the relationship today can better itself. It's a good one, no doubt. We know ourselves, we have an understanding of ourselves. But we wish that in the near future, there should be collaboration. Collaboration, constant discourses about how we can grow collaboratively. Let us understand our roles. Let us understand our roles, our professional, and let us respect our professional and ethical boundaries. Okay? Let Jews understand that we are working with them. They are also working to support us. We cannot be fighting. Okay? The people who are fighting are the ones who we are seeking to gain justice against, not against ourselves. So the relationship is good right now, but I believe that with the recent discoveries here and there of any form of fracas, meaning that there may have been issues about crossing into one another's boundaries. We can stem the tide, we can work together.
That's good. So in your own view, what would you think is the challenges facing JUSUN in your own view as the MBA chairman in your branch? What do you think, or do you see any challenge that JUSUN might be facing or is facing?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. We can immediately identify manpower capacity. Education is facing manpower challenges. Staffs are retiring every day,
Yes, definitely.
and then we have shortage of staff.
Definitely.
And because we have shortage of staff, we now have a situation where vacancies are filled by unskilled persons. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Let us take a typical courtroom structure, manpower personnel, for instance, where a clerk of court has retired and there's nobody to fill that position. It might be possible to remodel a security man, a gardener, or somebody, a casual staff to fill that position. Now, the first challenge that person is going to have is understanding that role,
Yes.
understanding the performance of that duty. Or that is someone that was originally employed as a casual personnel is now told to do the job of a court bailiff. All these things
Need to
have
be a whole lot of
peculiar experiences, they have their peculiar foundation. And if you are interfacing with members of the legal profession, you must know the kind of answers to give us, the kind of questions that you expect. So there's a manpower challenge right now facing JUSUN. JUSUN is understaffed. It is greatly understaffed. We are aware that there are certain persons we used to see, the COs and the human rights that we used to know, but they are no longer there. And what we're seeing is people that are trying to fill in those positions. There's manpower staff, and there is need for improved training and periodic training. Recently, I understand that you've done, you might not be children that are approved, and some exercises have been done for senior staffs, examinations have been taken. That is one of those ways of encouraging in-house capacity development from time to time. Now, I believe that the funding of the judiciary is also key to what should strengthen the zone as judicial staffing. If the government of the day were to consider every single budget presented by the chief judge, particularly as touched and concerns manpower development, right, it would be possible for the judiciary to be employing periodically to fill those gaps. So, proper staffing, funding affects the potency of judiciary strength. And because the judicial staffs are weak in terms of manpower strength, you might have the temptation of somebody trying to overshoot his boundaries, trying to do something to make extra ends meet, trying to ask for extra favors, doing things that are beyond the scope of the work that he came for, just because you want to make ends meet. Some of them are not properly paid. Some of them have not been upgraded to the particular salaries they are entitled to. And that also weakens their direct consciousness in the work. So these are the things we observe. Because if you go and the staff is very, very cold towards you, then there's a foundation towards it. Either the staff murmurs and says, after all, how much am I paid? Some of them struggle to come to work punctually. You have lawyers who can go to court, and those courts are not even open because they've not been able to muscle transportation to get there. We used to have a judiciary where bosses were given to all the judicial divisions to encourage transportation and movement of staff files and interchange of processes. But those bosses were not seeing them again. Why is the government not providing these bosses to the judiciary? If the bosses are bad for over 5 years, is the government not supposed to ensure that Minority Children provides new bosses for staff? And in the absence of those bosses, has there been any provision for their sub transportation to enable them to meet the targets of their job timeline? I can tell you that in some of our bar meetings, lawyers do report that they go to court and they don't even see any staff. And that is possibly because of the inability of that staff to meet the daily needs. And when I interface, I discover that
Especially the outstation.
there are stations. Why should the government not fund the judiciary to be able to provide transportation? Those buses are here and they're not functional. It is not helping the chief judge. It is not helping her duty. She is not supposed to be begging for this kind of resources. These resources are meant for her capital injection to revamp the judicial sector. It affects the staff directly. How many things have I mentioned? You can see where we are going to. And so the staffs, before they murmur by natural reaction of their faith which they find today. And that natural reaction is no force of my Lord the Chief Judge. It's because we are conscious that certain persons in government are not doing their jobs. Either they are not bringing it to direct attention of the government, or they're not passing through the proper channels. I can imagine that my Lord the Chief Judge is very thorough when she makes her presentations.
Definitely. That takes us to the last question. Juson has been advocating for judicial um, financial autonomy.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I
In a very
support,
short
I
word.
support, I support, I support that drive for justice. As a matter of fact, that is the NBA's position today.
Okay.
I recall that I spoke elaborately about the independence of the judiciary at the opening of this year's legal year. At the opening of this year's legal year, I spoke elaborately about the independence of the judiciary. That is the only thing the judiciary needs today. We don't need to be supported. We don't need to be encouraged. We need to be allowed to perform the optimal role of providing justice to the people. That is true independence. Independence will ensure that the funds are released for every capital project that my Lord the Chief Judge needs to execute. Independence of the judiciary will ensure that in due time, staffs are employed to replace those that are leaving. The independence of the judiciary will ensure that even the judicial officers cannot be distracted, neither can staff be distracted from performance of their roles. Because if I pay you your salary, I expect you to do your job. But if I don't pay you, you will now look for other ways of making ends meet. And that will mean cutting corners,
Yes.
going to do just lawyers as supposed to.
Definitely.
The ultimate goal, my dear brother, is the independence of the judiciary. The Nigerian Bar Association is completely in tandem with that drive.
Okay.
Because an independent judiciary is the foundation for any form of, how do you call it, any form of interference, any form of lawlessness, or any form of anything that can affect a judge's role or a magistrate's role or a judicial court's role. Right now, we need the judiciary's independence. All judges, magistrates, district court chairmen, court halls, institutions should be properly funded, and that can only come from an independent judiciary.
You have been watching the program Morning Dew on Juson TV. I've been talking to the chairman of NBA branch, Uyo. Thank you so much for being on our TV today, sir.
Thank you so much.
Please,
And
before-
I thank Juson once again for this opportunity. I want to say to my Lord the Chief Judge that we are with you. We are solidly behind you. We're already glad with the good things you are doing, and we know you will do better. We will continue to insist that the status of the judiciary should be enhanced under your leadership so that you can perform and do better for your people. May the good Lord continue to bless you, my Lord. Bless my Lord, the Chief Registrar. Bless every other person. Most importantly, Juson through Katele Ajada, the engineer.
And we are looking forward to have a football match between the NBA and Juson, and we see who will win.
The last time we had a football match, my Lord the Chief Judge was the chairman of the division.
Yes.
And she
yes.
said, and she was not happy that Juson beat everyone. We lost that match to almost 3-0 to 0. And we were complaining. So we want to play on the we are sure that we are winning. But we welcome it. We welcome it. It's a part of union.
Wow.
It's a part of bonding.
Wow.
So once you invite us, we'll come.
Thank you very much. You are on to Juson TV on the program Morning Dew. My name is your comrade, Reginald Macaulay. Stay tuned to Juson TV.